Hey guys, Tom here. So this past weekend was the first weekend that we've had Age of Overlord legal in our TCG format, and there was many a regional and the YCS in America, of course, and I managed to get 4th place at the Stockton regional with the Labrynth Unchained deck, utilising a few of the new cards from the new set. So I just wanted to go through the deck list very quickly. If you like this sort of content, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Really helps out the channel, and any feedback, of course, is always appreciated. So without further ado, I'll get into the list.
So for the monsters, there's 3 Oriana, 2 Lady. 2 Ladies all you need. She doesn't do enough on her own to warrant 3. The 1 Lovely and the brand new Arias, the Labrynth Butler. Just a one of. It's a niche card. You don't have to play it, but it's really cool in certain scenarios. For those who don't know, while Arias is on the field or in your hand, you can pitch her, or send her to the grave rather, to set a normal trap from your hand, or you can special summon a Labrynth monster from your hand. If you do select the trap option, the trap can be activated that turn, which is really cool for firing off powerful turn 0 normal traps, things like Barrier and Karma Cannon, or even your welcome cards for that matter. And while she's in the grave and your opponent responds to a Labrynth card effect or a normal trap card effect, she can special summon herself, which is really cool because it gives you a push past the deck's biggest weakness, which is Ash. So if your welcome cards get Ash, she can immediately respond to those by putting herself on board. Really cool, because by giving the extra body, you can pivot into things like Yama a lot easier, since Yama only requires 2 fiends. Like I say, it's a niche one of. You don't have to play it, but I found decent uses for it. So that's it for the bigger Labrynth monsters. This is still the furniture package, so the Torbies, the Shadrangler, and there's still the 1 Kuklok. I think these 7 are fine. I don't think you need to extend any more into Kuklok, especially with Arias being out now. So that was good. And then for the 1 Unchained monster in the main deck, there's the Shivara. Shivara's just a free card to grab off of Yama, being able to summon it and climb further into the Unchained package, into Rage and Anguish and things like that. Plus, every time you summon Yama, you keep adding this back. So it's just a free card to pitch off the furniture. It's always a solid card to pitch off the furniture, because if you don't see the escape, you just set the escape from deck for free. And then for the second option, there's 2 Fenrir. Fenrir has always been good. Being able to grab a spare copy of it as well to pitch off the furnitures just makes sense. Then for monster hand traps, there's 3 Ash and 2 Crow. I used to play Nib, but Crows just seems to have more of a call in this format. I don't think it's the right format for Nib at the moment. The format's still fresh, so that might change. But Crow is solid. I wish I could have had space for 3, but the deck's already at 41. But this was obviously good for Unchained, Terror Element. It's in weird scenarios, it can hit things against like Rescue Ace when they need 2 cards engraved to maybe summon Turbulence. So I don't think this is terrible against Rescue Ace. There's better things, but you need to cover for all the matchup bases. The format is so wide that I think you need hand traps that work okay and better against everything. So for spells, there's 3 Extravagance, the 1 field spell, and the Callboy. I still think the Callboy is necessary because Ash is so prevalent. The field spell's really cool this format because, or in this deck, should I say, because by activating your normal traps, you get to reborn not only your Labrynth monsters, but you can also reborn the Unchained cards. So Yama, and Yama triggers on special summon. So you just grab the Shivara either from your deck or from grave, depending on where it is. So this card was really cool. I don't think it's necessary to play, but it's a nice add-on, especially when you get to pop free cards with your welcome traps. And Extravagance is just the best pot card that you can play in this deck. The more cards you have in your hand, the better. And then for traps, there's 3 big welcome and 2 regular welcome. You don't need 3 of this. As long as you've got 1 circulating in your grave, it's fine. And then big welcome's just the best card in the deck. 3 Skilled Rain. This card is... It's really, really good going first or second, because you can try and play into a board. This with the new Typhon card is as well, alongside each other. So you have 3 of this in the main deck, and then the 2 Typhon going second in the extra deck. Or I'm playing 2 at least, I couldn't find space for a third. 2 Imperm, again, I couldn't find space for 3, but you can grab it off Lady whenever you want. Always good at triggering Lady as well. Turn 0. And then the 1-off traps, the generic Overroot, Karma Cannon, Ice Dragon's Prison, and the 1 Escape to search, or to set off your Shivara. So yeah, I think this and Lovely are the worst cards in your deck to draw. Lovely's not as bad now, as I mentioned earlier with Arias. But yeah, this is definitely the worst card in the deck to draw. Everything else was fine. I didn't want a main barrier because Tier and Unchained just don't care about the card. It's only really good against Pearly, I've noticed, and Rescue Ace don't care about it, of course, either, so I don't think it warranted maining barrier, as powerful as it is. So for the extra deck, there's 3 Chaos Angels, and nothing needs to be said on that. Card's insane. Card's really good under Typhon as well, because yes, if you summon it under Typhon, you don't get to banish a card, but the lingering effect where all your guys can't be destroyed by battle is still active. So Typhon is immune to battle that way, which is really cool in some more aggressive matchups like Vanadium. 3 Yama. Yama was cool. Alongside the 2 Rage, 1 Anguish, and 3 Abomination. You have to play 3 Yama because of the extravagance, of course. But yeah, these cards were all good. Yama being able to reborn any fiend is really cool. So you can banish her and summon your Chaos Angel back, or Ariana for follow-up. I couldn't find space for any more of the Abominations or Anguishes, but the 2 Rage and 3 Yama were fine. The engine was really, really good all day. 2 SP Little Knight, one of the more defining cards this format. I'm not quite sure what Konami were thinking of making this card, but they did. Being able to make this on your opponent's turn with Rage, or using their guy on your own turn with Anguish, really, really solid. Good at dodging hand traps and things like Evenly, because you can take 2 guys off of board as well. I never came up against Evenly throughout the regional, but the interaction is there. The 1 Muckraker, this card's not as vital anymore, or it didn't feel as vital when I was testing the deck. But I still like it as a one-off, being an option to reborn things like Rage and Chaos Angel. Very, very good. And the last 2 cards in the extra deck being, as I mentioned earlier, the Typhon. This card is incredibly cool. A lot of people think it's overhyped, but this card actually has some worth going second, especially if your deck's slower. Into boards like Baron and Apo, you can just summon this by just normal summoning any guy. Swing over the Appaloosa if it's 2400 attack, and then you can just bounce the Baron. So off of a normal summon, you outed the board. What's really cool as well is, because it only stops things with 3 or more thousand attack, or 3,000 or more attack, I should say, sorry. You can still use Lovely underneath it. It shuts off your access to Lady, unfortunately, but being able to use Lovely while you control this is really, really good. Because, like I've mentioned, things like Baron, Despater, even a 3200 attack Appaloosa can't respond. So, yeah, this card was really, really solid. A lot of people are saying it's overhyped, but I think it's well worth at least having like a one-of in your extra deck. Obviously, with this list, there's extravagance, so you're having to play multiple. That's it for the extra deck. Moving on to the side deck. 3 Shifter. I opted for this over Droll, mainly because of Rescue Ace, but I thought it was good against like Vanadium and Unchained, and Tier, of course. So I thought it hitting those 4 matchups was really, really good. Then 3 Lord. This was just for Unchained. It never came up. I played Unchained at the regional, but I never got the opportunity to go first. I lost 5 out of my 6 die rolls over the regional, which is always fun. But in theory, this card's really good against Unchained, and against the Mirror as well, because you get to outpace them with traps, and it's always a good card just to keep bouncing with your Big Welcome Labrynth as well. And then the final monster in the side deck is Druisworm. Druisworm was fine. If I could go back and change it, I might have opted for the Keldo Mudora instead. Just because when Tier go first, they like to mill your deck as much as they mill their own. So playing those might have warranted a bit better over the 2 slots. But yeah, I lost. I won the first 5 rounds of the regional and then lost the last round to Tier. So that's the only reason I'm thinking that the Keldo and Medora might have been better. 2 Encore, just for Pearly. Played Pearly, never saw the card, but didn't need it. Barrier was enough. And then final cards, 3 Evenly, 1 Barrier, and 1 DDG. Just utility cards to set off of lady. You can always draw them with Arias as well, which is quite funny. And then evenly is just for covering. I think this card is the best card that you can play against Rescue Ace. This and Lightning Storm, but I didn't have space for the Lightning Storms given everything else I'm playing. Going forward, I think Lightning Storm might be more popular if the Rescue Ace deck picks up. So that is the list. One thing I will demonstrate really quick is how useful the Arias can be. So one thing I noticed is that you can, if I can get the cards correct, if you open Ariana plus either one of these cards, a cool thing you can do, this is like a worst case scenario thing against something like Ash. So if you start off by summoning your Ariana, say that you opened the Ariana and the Butler, for example, you can go Ariana to grab either one of your welcome cards. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong welcome there. There we go. So you can grab either one of these, whichever one your hand suits best. Let's just grab the big welcome for now. And then something you can do is you can trigger Arias' effect to pitch yourself, and then set the big welcome to your field. You can then flip the big welcome straight away. Now here, if your opponent Ash Blossoms this, which, like I mentioned, is the worst case scenario for this deck, the Arias can then trigger to jump out of grave. So you get a free body off of that. This obviously goes to the grave with no effect. And then you can link these two off for Yama. And then Yama will grab you your Shavara. And then if you have another card in your hand to set, you can set that card, pop the card, then summon Shavara, then link these off for your Rage. And then your Shavara will be able to set you your copy of Escape. So you can end on Rage plus Escape, which isn't the scariest board in the world, but to say that Labrynth played through Ash quite well is good. The deck's never been able to do that really. But so if you go to your opponent's turn, you can flip the Escape to pop the Rage. You can just keep this to link off with something like SP Little Knight, for example. But this play seemed really cool as well. So you can go pop the Rage, and then on a new chain link, you can go Rage 1 to add back your Arias, and then Yama can remove herself from grave to summon back the Ariana. And then you'll grab this back. These will go to grey, things go back. And then the Ariana can trigger, which will add you either one of your Labrynth cards, your welcome cards, whichever one, again, suits your hand best. And then whichever one you choose, you can then use Arias in your opponent's main phase to set one of them, and then flip it straight away. So then, say, for example, you summon or activate the big welcome, you can summon the Lovely, then bounce the Ariana for follow-up, and then the Lovely can rip a card. If your opponent responds in any way, the Arias will summon herself again. So it was just something while I was testing that I found really cool. It's probably not the most optimal line, but if anyone's got any feedback on what might be a more optimal line than that, I'm more than happy to listen. Like I say at the beginning, any feedback is welcomed. So that's it for the deck. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. If you, like I said at the beginning, if you could like, comment, and subscribe. All the feedback that we get is very good and it helps out the channel a ton. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.